A very good morning to all my lovely students. So once again I am back with my online classes, and today we are going to start a new topic. As you can see on the board, this topic is also related to verb, and this topic is very important for us to understand the next chapter that I shall be explaining you in my upcoming classes. So today, as you look on the board, you can see that I have written two kinds of verb. One is main verb and the other one is helping verb. It means that we will learn about two important kinds of verbs. I have taken a couple of classes previously to explaining you about verb, and I am quite sure by now you all know what a verb is. So now let's start with the kinds of verb. So as you can see, I have written there are two kinds of verb. One is the main verb and the other one is the helping verb. Now, main verb has another name which is also called principal verb. So first of all, we will today talk about the main verb. So main verb is also called principal verb. So this is another name of main verb. Now, when we say main verb or when we say principal verb, the word principal, what is the first thought that comes to our mind? Principal means someone very important, or main means somebody very important. Now, let's take the example of our school. We have our principal ma'am in our school. What is her function? She is the one who takes up all the decisions in the school. She runs the school, she looks on into the administration of the school, and the power that she has is she can take any decision without anybody else's permission. She is self-dependent. So that is what a principal verb does. A principal verb or a main verb is that verb in the sentence which can explain itself, which is self-dependent. It is not dependent on any other word in the sentence to explain itself. Now the next thing, so the first thing that we understood is main verbs are self-dependent, which means that they can explain their meaning themselves. So, these are the two things that we have come to know. Another important thing that we need to remember is that principal or main verbs are always action words. Every action word is a main verb or principal verb. What are action words? Let us write a few examples of action words. So, which are the action words? Like eat, drink, sleep, go, come, sit, etc. So, any word that shows action is known as a main verb or a principal verb. Now, we will learn more about the kinds of principal verbs in my upcoming classes. Now, what I want to concentrate more on is helping verb. So, from the name itself, helping verb, we get the word help. What does it mean? It means that the verb which helps us in understanding the sentence. So, what in the sentence does the helping verb help us to understand? The function of the helping verb is to tell us the tense. So, the helping verb, it tells us the tense of the verb. It also tells us about the voice. And the other thing that it tells us is mood. So these are the three things that the helping verb helps us to understand. Now, for example, if I write down I So I've written a sentence, I sleeping. Now, you know the meaning of we all know what its meaning is. We also know the meaning of sleeping. So sleeping is self-sufficient in making us understand what it means. Therefore, still main verb is doing its function. It is telling us the meaning of sleeping. We can understand. But by just writing I sleeping, we cannot understand when am I sleeping. Is it talking about past, or is it talking about future, or is it talking about the present? But as soon as I put a verb in between, like I am sleeping, we understand that I'm sleeping in the present. So it is telling us about the present tense. Again, we can also understand that this sentence is in active voice. So similarly, if I write, may I come in. If I don't write this word may and I just say I come in, then you will not understand the meaning. What am I doing? Am I asking a question, or am I telling a statement? Am I making a request? Nothing is clear. But as soon as I put the word may over here, it becomes clear that I am taking a permission. By using may, I am taking a permission. So this may over here, this am over here are helping verbs. So what does a helping verb do? It tells us about the tense, it tells us about the voice, it tells us about the mood of the sentence. Now, helping verbs are of two kinds. One is the auxiliary and the other one is the modal. Modals, you have a related chapter in your book, which I shall start in my next class. Today, we will just talk about auxiliaries. I hope this much is quite clear to you all. So now, let's move on to what auxiliaries are. So auxiliaries are those verbs which tells us generally the tense and voice of the sentence. So through auxiliaries we can understand in which tense the verb is or in which voice the sentence is. So that is the main function of an auxiliary verb. It helps us in a way that we understand the tense and voice of the sentence. Now, auxiliaries are three main kinds. What are they? Be, do and have. So there are three important kinds of auxiliaries: be, do and have. Now, the verb be again has 5 forms. These 5 forms are derived from the verb be. So what are they? Am, is, are, was and were. Next, do. Do is another auxiliary which has 3 forms. What are they? Do, does, did. And then we have the third auxiliary, have, which again has 3 forms: have, has and had. So these are the main forms of the auxiliary verb. So be is am, is, are, was and were. Do, does, did. And have is used as have, has and had. Out of which am, is and are used in present tense. Was and were are used in past tense. Similarly, do and does are used in present tense. Did is used in past tense. And again, have and has are used in present tense and had is used in past tense. So, these are the forms of auxiliaries. Now, before I finish up my class, one more important feature of auxiliary I want to teach you here. I have already told you that auxiliaries are those verbs which help the main verb to understand the tense and Even number, it's not only tense and voice, but it also helps us to know the number of the noun. Say, if I write, he is sleeping. So, here, when I write he is sleeping, this word, this auxiliary is, it is telling us three things. First thing it tells us is, it is telling us the tense, that it is in present tense. Next, it's telling us the voice, that it is active voice. And the third thing it tells us is the number, that we always use is with singular. One more thing that an auxiliary tells us is person, in which person the subject is. Here he is. So we use is with third person. So see, what does an auxiliary do? It tells us the tense, it tells us the voice, it tells us the number, and it tells us the person. So this is a very important function of an auxiliary verb. But there is another important function of an auxiliary. An auxiliary starts working as a main verb when there is no main verb in a sentence. Now let me clarify this to you. Now we all know, I have already told you earlier also, that there can be no sentence without a verb. So it is must that we should have a verb in a sentence. But all the time, it is not necessary that you will have a main verb or you will have an action word in the sentence. At times, when your sentence do not have an action word, then the auxiliary, it instead of helping the main verb or instead of helping the action word, it itself starts working as the main verb. So, if I write here, he is sleeping, here is helping the verb sleeping to understand its tense. But if I write another sentence, he is an engineer. Here, you don't have any action word. He is an engineer. You don't have any action word. You only have this auxiliary, is. But now, this auxiliary is not working as the helping verb. It itself has started working as the main verb. So, another important feature of an auxiliary is that it tells us about the, I just made a mistake. I will repeat it once again. So, the most important function of auxiliary is that it tells us the tense, voice, number and person of the sentence. But it does another work, and what is that? When the sentence do not have an action word or when it does not have a main verb, the auxiliary starts working as a main verb. So, my dear students, with this I shall end up my class here, and in my next class I shall start the chapter models from your textbook. So, thank you for today. Have a nice day.